Hey guys, this is Matt Core from Ctrl+Paint.com, and today I want to give you a challenge. And that challenge is to create your own keyboard shortcut layout for Photoshop. But I'm going to give you a tool to make it a little bit easier. Because this whole problem is that software is designed for the average user. If you're playing something like a MOBA or a first-person shooter, the average users are all pretty similar, and so the keyboard layout can be really specific. All the keys are going to be on the same part of the keyboard. But you're not the average user. The way you handle Photoshop is different from a graphic designer. So my argument is changing the arrangement of the keyboard shortcuts is hugely important for the way you paint. But the remapping system is a bit overwhelming because, as you probably know, you have to go into the keyboard shortcuts here, and then you dig down into these menus and start renaming things. Not entirely fun. And that's where this layout designer comes into play. It's a pair of PSD files that are going to allow you to experiment visually with key bindings. So the first document is a set of commands, and that's what all these icons are. And the other document is where you're going to arrange them into your layouts. So if you look here at the key map, you can see that it's arranged into folders. And these folders just represent the different layers of commands. So you have your base layer, which means you're not holding down Control or Alt, but it doesn't have any keys yet. So the way this works is I'm going to open up this folder, base layer, and then I'm going to go to the other document, and I'm going to choose what tool I want to add. And for me, it always starts with the brush tool. So I'll select this layer and just drag it into the other document. And now I'm just going to put it on a key that seems comfortable. So I'm going to start here on the home row, and I'm just going to keep going with the other tools. So next I might pick the eraser. That also is very important for my process. Then I'll get the brush diameters here. And then I just carry on in this way and fill out the rest of the key map. But this is just one of the layers. This is the base layer. And these other color-coded folders are for the Control and Shift, and Control and Alt. And so each of these can have their own layout. And when you toggle the visibility, it just shows those keys. And you'll also notice that this file has a key legends layer that you can toggle on and off. And this is just going to show you what the normal keys are called. But in my opinion, the best way to approach this challenge is truly with a blank slate. And so with that in mind, if you hide these letters, you're less likely to be influenced by the default bindings. It's also worth mentioning that these are really just a starting point. I've included here a blank icon, as well as some dummy text that you can throw on top and change to a button label. Because everybody uses different tools in Photoshop. Here I just created a set of icons that represent my most commonly used tools. You're probably going to need some of your own. Now the reason I did this whole system is because it's all about experimentation. Because here with my control layer, if I want to experiment with shifting things around, doing it in 2D like this is so much easier than digging around inside the preferences menu in Photoshop. And I think it is worth taking this seriously and considering sort of radical solutions. Throw out those expectations and come up with something interesting. But eventually you will decide on a layout you want to give a try, and you will have to then go to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and then manually enter your decisions. But it's the steps that lead up to that. It's when you're brainstorming and sort of sketching out where these might be best suited for you that I think this toolkit is really going to help you. And then when you're done, it's really easy to toggle your different layer visibilities and to export JPEGs to help you memorize your new key maps. And I suppose if you really want to, you can show your friends the key maps that you've chosen because it's just very easy to export images. And at that point, it's down to starting painting with your new layout. And I recognize that the learning curve here is a bit intimidating. But listen, this is a long-term benefit. It might take a couple weeks or even a couple months to really get these new keyboard shortcuts memorized. But in the years or decades you might be digital painting, it is totally worth it. You might be surprised with how nice a new layout is. Thanks for coming to the site, guys.